Okay, we are live. Fantastic. We are live. Close this, and close this. Okay, there you are. So as I said, I hope that you are in a very quiet space for you to speak comfortably. And let us start with today's practice, okay? We're gonna follow the same mechanism that we followed before. That is to say, one by one, you're going to deliver your responses, and I'm going to be checking it out later at the end, okay? So let me please share my screen with you so that you can see the questions that we're going to be following. What material are we going to use? Well, the one that we have shared yesterday, or didn't I share this with you, I think? Let me see if I have. 09. I have actually not done so. Oh, yes. Okay. So I have a gift for all of you before we start the classes. This is let me here display it. So I have a gift for all of you I was mentioning, for those of you who have just gotten into. And this is the gift. It's a link, it's a free resource that contains a lot of questions for this type of task in the speaking section. And well, you can use this in order to practice in your free time. As I say, it contains a lot of statements that are questions or topics for you to respond about. And well, you can use them whenever you want for you to practice this section, okay? So please have this, save it in, I don't know, in a carpet, maybe you have your notes enabled. So please use this whenever you want to practice, okay? But we're going to be using it as well tonight in order to practice together. So please, let's get into this. And I'm going to go to the end of the questions. As you can see, there are a lot of them. And I'm going to go to the end so that you can, well, when you're practicing by yourself, you don't repeat the questions, but you actually go about starting from the beginning and, well, scrolling down until you finalize with all those questions. Although I hesitate you're going to finish them because, as you can see, there are many. I have never counted them, so, but well, let us start here from the last question, okay? So here you are. Here you have the first question. Okay, so as I also said to the students who were present here from the beginning, we're going to follow the same mechanism, okay, to respond. And you are going to be, well, receiving some feedback at the end, at the end, and you're going to be responding one by one to this particular question. Well, and that is going to be the mechanism we will be following. There you are, the question, the first question for today's practice. It's people should no longer be allowed to own pets like dogs and cats. Do you think that this is a good idea? Give reasons and details to support your argument. There you are. Okay. So how much time you have for preparing your response? Well, just 15 seconds, as we have discussed previously, and 45 seconds to speak. Okay, so please, all of you, start preparing your responses now. There you are. Fantastic. Okay, so one by one, okay? You're gonna respond just in the order that I can see you. So Paulina, you're going to be the first one, all right? I can see you at the top of my list. So you're going to start in tonight's first round of responses, okay? So please, dear Paulina, have your microphone set up and start delivering your response now.
Okay, with regard with the topic about the people shouldn't longer be allowed to own pets like dogs and cats. I agree with that idea because most of the people don't take care of them about dogs and cats, and I think that the people don't take care because they don't have much time, a lot of time to take care of them, or go to walk with their pets. And for example, when I have I have a friend and she works all the time and she doesn't have a time to take care of her pet.
There you are. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Paulina, for your response. Okay, let us move on to Natalie. Please, Natalie, you're going to continue. And please, dear Natalie, start responding to the question now.
With regard to your topic, I'm not agree with that statement because of the following reasons. The first one is that all animals need to receive love. And for example, I had a pet, it's a cat. Its name is Tiki, and she receives a lot of love here in my home. So she feels really good. She feels comfortable in my home. So she's really fun. And another reason is because we need to to live with these animals that the earth give us, so that we can I forgot the idea, sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Thank you very much, Natalie. It happens. Don't worry. Okay, there you are. Camila, you're going to continue. Okay, so please start delivering your response now.
I do believe people should own pets like dogs and cats because they are great. They are a great company. My first reason is because they make you feel happy and comfortable. For example, each time I arrive home, they bring me a smile on my face. As well, people who own pets are the ones who love them as kids, and the love is mutual, bringing happiness and motivation for performing better on activities. For example, my friends who have animals are the ones who perform better at school and on activities.
All right. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Camila. Very good. There you are. Fantastic. So, Lucia, please, you're going to be the fourth one. So please, dear Lucia, respond to the question now.
With regard to the topic, I believe that owning pets and like dogs and cats are really a good idea because brings joy to people's life. And well, first of all, and I think that brings really happiness to a family. For example, in my case, my family, I own a dog, and I think it really helps us to be more happy and motivated. And second of all, like a relevant study has proved that domestic pets has helped a lot of people to get through and to get better with mental problems like anxiety and depression. And yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Very good, dear Lucia. Thank you. Fantastic. Okay. Fantastic. I just saw that Alexander has also gotten into the reunion. Thank you, Alexander, for being here. You're going to participate from the second question. Okay. For this one, let us just listen to the review for your classmates. Okay. So well, let us give some quick feedback then. So for Paulina, I think that's, the response is actually very good. In your case, I always like the arguments you present. And maybe, of course, the only problem would be of the time factor. And well, how could you improve in that? Well, my recommendation would be to make shorter arguments. For example, in this case, you said, right, that people should not actually own pets because they don't have time for them. So your argument should have been something as that particular statement. For example, I believe this way, or I believe this way because of the following reasons. First of all, because people don't actually have time to take care of them. That would have been the argument. I'm going to repeat. Because of the following reasons. First of all, because people do not actually have time to take care of them. That was it. But in this case, when you responded, you expanded more in your argument. But remember, it is not necessary to expand so much because it is through the illustration that you make it clearer. Okay, so conform yourself with a very short and brief statement as far as it is clear. Okay, because if it is clear, then it doesn't matter if it is short and brief, it is also going to be compelling. Okay, so that would be how you could improve that time factor, because by offering short arguments that are not that lengthy, you're going to have time to include the second and the illustrations as well. Okay, but very good, dear Paulina.
Thank you.
All right, there you are. Natalie, I think your response is fantastic for, well, with regard to your participation. I think that it's very good how you have managed to absorb the idea of making very specific illustrations and how you, for example, mention the name of your pet. Fantastic. That is exactly what you have to do, because when you make it that personal, it's difficult not to have empathy for your response. So as I say, that is fantastic. Okay, please keep up with that particular practice you have, making your responses always very specific, because that makes them to stand out from the rest. I will remember the name of your pet during the entire night. So that is great. Okay. Camilla, as well, I think the response here in your case is very specific, very personal, and that makes it, of course, to stand out as well from the rest. How you mentioned, right, that when you see your animals or pets, when you come back from work, let's say, or from the university, you come back home and you see them moving their tails, that provokes a smile on your face. Fantastic. That's it. That is how you make a response personal and specific, right? And also the second argument, it was very good as well. Okay, perfect. Let's continue. Well, for Lucia as well, I think that in your case, it was a very good response too. And as I say, maybe, well, in this case also would be the same recommendation that I gave for Paulina, to make shorter arguments maybe, because as you have very good illustrations as the ones you gave, for example, of your dog and how it brings happiness to your family and to your parents. Incredible. And also, for example, it would allow you to include more information for the second argument that you gave, that it helps people to go through mental diseases like Alzheimer, or I never knew how to pronounce Alzheimer. I'm not sure if it is Alzheimer or Alzheimer, but the point is that disease that I know you were mentioning, yes, certainly, if you have shorter arguments, you're going to have time to mention them later. Okay, but very good. Okay, so let's go with the second question. I know you want to practice, so let's go with here you are. I think this is very interesting. And here you can give a lot of examples that are personal and actually true if you want, because I think this is something that has happened to all of us. Okay, so please read the chat box. And I'm going to start with your 15 seconds. Okay, I think that all of you have read. So please start developing your response now. There you are. So the student who is going to start this round will be Natalie. So please, dear Natalie, turn on your microphone and start delivering your response now.
With regard to your topic, I'm agreed that it is a good idea to save 5% of your salary each month because of the following reasons. The first one is you have to be conscious that maybe in the future you will have emergencies. So that's a good idea for saving money. For example, one time I started to save my money each month and week by week, and at the end of the year, I had an emergency in my school, so I was able to pay it for it. So the second reason is because
No, it's okay. It's okay. Thank you. Thank you, Natalie. Fantastic. Very good. All right, don't worry. Let's continue with who's going to continue with Camila. Okay, Camila, you're going to continue this time. So please, dear Camila, start responding to the question now.
With regard to the topic, I do think that it's better to save about 5% of our salary each month because of the following reasons. The first reason is that I think saving percentage of your salary makes you more responsible and efficient. For example, in the future, with your saves, you can invest in whatever you want. And another example, it will be that no, I forgot.
No, don't worry, don't worry. Thank you. Thank you very much, Camila. It's okay. It's fine. All right, there you are. Let's continue with Lucia. Please, dear Lucia, start sharing with us your response now.
With regard to the topic, I believe that saving about 5% of your salary each month is a good idea because, well, I believe this way because of the following reasons. First of all, it's a good idea to save money of your salary. Doesn't matter the amount because it can help you later for an important event. For example, my aunt saved a lot of her own salary through her life. And when she unfortunately got sick, she was able to afford the expensive treatment and without any help. And I think it was really important to save your salary.
Okay, there you are. Thank you. Thank you very much, Lucia. All right. Alexander, please, you're going to follow up with the responses, okay? So please start sharing with us your response now.
Okay, teacher. With regard to the topic, save 50% your salary each month. I agree, because you will save little by little. At the end of the year, you will have a good amount of savings. In doing that, you can use that for some energy like health. In if a case, if you have any illness, you can have that amount of money you cure yourself. And on the other hand, if you want to have a trip or any any kind of or trip, or you can use that money.
All right. There you are. Thank you very much, dear Alexander. Fantastic. And let's finalize with Paulina. Paulina, you're going to close this round of responses, okay? So please start responding to the question now.
Okay, with regard to the topic, I agree because of the following reasons. You can travel around the world because it allows to you to discover different things. And in my case, I work and I save the 10% of my money, and that money helps me to travel. To another country, and I felt happy because it was my own money. And also, another reason is you can save money for your studies if you want to study in another country. In my case, I want to study in another country, and it will help. Okay.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Paulina. Okay, so I want to start my feedback with Paulina. I think it was, incredible how much you progressed in this response, how fluent, how natural your response felt. Fantastic. Congratulations, Paulina. Very good. The introduction was, as I told you, very short, concise. Also, the arguments, I think, that were very innovative, right? Because you said, right, you spoke about particular things, how you think that by saving 5% of your money, in your case 10%, so you made it personal, right? Fantastic. You can travel to different countries and also, to have funds to study in foreign nations or countries when you have, let's say, saved for a matter of 1 year or any particular amount of time. So very good response. Okay, very good, Paulina. Thank you. The same, I think, for Camila's way. Well, I mean, in this case, I guess that some of you were a little bit, let's say, you didn't find this topic very, let's say, manageable in the sense of finding different arguments, because I listened that many of you always mentioned the same argument, that was that saving money, or at least 5% of your money, allows you to, be prepared for future emergencies. Of course, yes, that is true. Very good. But yeah, I mean, don't worry. It happens sometimes that your mind simply blocked and it's difficult to think about more arguments, or maybe you just don't think that they are very good and you don't mention them just because of that. But nonetheless, remember that, for example, as Paulina did, let's say that think about Paulina's arguments in this manner. She could have said that by saving money, you can actually do very good things in the future. But instead of making that very general argument, she talked about two particular things that you can do in the future. And although they are basically the same, because those are two things that you can do in the future because you're saving money, she divided that, let's say, very generic response into specifics. She said that in the future, you can travel to countries, and in the future, you can actually study abroad if you want. So as you can see, for example, maybe that is a technique that you could apply. In this case, you could have done the same maybe with the emergency. You could have said, in the future, you could have some contingencies. For example, you can get sick in the future and maybe you're going to need money. Or you could have said something like, maybe you're going to decide to marry very unexpectedly. And because of that, you're going to need money. So as you can see, that is certainly the same, right? Because instead of saying that in the future you could have had an emergency, you are saying emergencies that are specific. So as I say, maybe that can help you to divide a very general argument into two specifics, just as Paulina did in this case. All right, that is a general recommendation for all of you. Think about it in that manner. That is to say, when you mention general arguments, you can actually divide that same general arguments into two specifics and to use those specifics as two divided and separate arguments. And I think that is a manner in which you can think about more arguments when you are in blank, when you don't have, let's say, the capacity at that time to think about more arguments. I know, of course, that if I give you 1 minute to think about arguments, you're going to come up with 10 maybe, but 15 seconds is the problem, right? But very good for all of you. Yeah, I mean, I think that that would be my recommendation for all of you, because about the template, I think that you completely got it. Okay, but fantastic, very good. Let's move on. Let's go with, okay. All right, I guess it's interesting. Well, at least I think that it's interesting. It's very personal, but this type of questions certainly appear on the exam. I have listened to very funny questions that have appeared to some people, so let's try it with this one. Do you think that it is a good idea to date someone who speaks a different language that you do? Support your points with specific examples and details. Maybe you can talk about here your dates. So please start preparing your responses, dear students, now. Right, there you are. Very good. So the first one for this round is going to be Camila. So please, dear Camila, start delivering your response for this question now.
With regard to the topic, I think it's a good idea to date someone which speaks a different language due to the following reasons. First of all, you can learn better the language of your partner, and you could be more. You could be better at that language. For example, my brother is dating someone from the Netherlands that speaks that language, and he doesn't. And the other reason is, as they speak another language, they live in another country, so you can be able to visit that country and learn about their culture and everything from that country.
Very good. There you are. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Camila. Okay. Very good. Lucia, please, you're going to be the second one in this round, so please start responding to the question now.
With regard to the topic, I think it's a good idea to date someone who speaks a different language, because of the following reasons. First of all, I think that cultural exchange is relevant, and to be able to learn new things. For example, my friend it's dating actually right now a German guy, and she was able to learn different things from that country, and I think it's really useful. Second of all, I think that since English is a general and global language, I think that you can improve yourself with that, practicing with your partner.
There you are. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Alexander, please, you're going to be the third one. You're Alexander, so please start the sharing with us your response now. Okay, let's start again. Alexander, right?
Yes, teacher, sorry.
No, don't worry, don't worry. Okay, so please start responding to the question now.
Okay, with regard to the topic, I agree, because that way you learn new speech technique in the other language, like Japanese, like Chinese, or the other language, and learn new words. Although it's difficult for you to understand, you will make the attempt, and you will be a good experience to know and learn new ideas and thoughts. For example, my friends, when I travel to the USA, the first thing she does is go out with the strange persons, with the local, with the local side, to the adapted, how can I say adaptarse?
To adapt herself in this case.
Exacto. Exactly.
Yes. All right.
Yes, teacher.
Very good. Thank you very much, dear Alexander. There you are. Very good response. Let's continue with Paulina. Right, dear Paulina, you're going to continue. So please start responding to the question now.
Okay, with regard to the topic, I agree because of the following reasons. It allows to you to discover different cultures. For example, no, the cultures. For example, I had no. Oh, sorry. Can I repeat again?
Yes, yes, why not? Please. So please start now.
With regard to the topic, I agree because of the following reasons. It allows to you to discover different things or different cultures because I have a friend who speaks French, and also he has different opinions about that is in my country, similar in my country. And also you can learn another language because it allows to you to improve another language and to discover different ways to learn another language, and also it will be more stranger for you, but also it will be hard. But if you want, you can. But I think no.
No, it's okay.
I didn't
Thank
say
you.
the example.
No, it's fine. Don't worry. Thank you very much. It's very good. Okay, there you are. And finally, dear Nathalie, you're going to close this round of responses. Okay, so please start responding now.
With regard to our topic, I'm agree that it's a good idea to date someone who speaks a different language because of the following reasons. The first one is you become bilingual. For example, my mom met an American and now is her boyfriend, and I'm shocked when he speaks and he understands everything right now. Another reason is because you can share your customs and traditions. For example, when he is here in Peru, my mom prepare food and he tries it, and vice versa. So that's why I think so.
Incredible. Thank you very much, dear Nathalie. There you are. So I want to start here in this occasion with Nathalie's example. So for example, notice that Nathalie had still 9 remaining seconds in her chronometer and she stopped. Is that fine? Yes, certainly it is, because I think that her response was absolutely wonderful and that she spoke everything that she had to say in a very natural, concise, clear manner. And she considered that she didn't have more to say. It's preferable to stay silent, as I told you, because at some point you're going to be so good at your responses that you're going to have remaining time. So when you discover that you have that remaining time, maybe many of you are going to be tempted to go about giving conclusions, that is to say, to repeat what you already said. But I tell you, that is not actually very much advantageous nor convenient for you, because think about it, like conclusions are simply repetitions, right? Or what you have already said. And when you have repeating something, well, I mean, what do you think are you, I mean, let's say adding to your response in a positive setting? It's very difficult to think about positive things that you're adding when you're simply repeating what you said, right? So imagine, for example, the worst case scenario in which you commit a mistake in the last part of your response, just because you're making a conclusion that, as I say, is, well, simply repetitive. So my recommendation is to do exactly what Nathalie did in this case, that is basically to stop and to let the timer to continue, because of course, in this case, I stopped it, but in the actual exam, it's not going to stop until the 4 or 5 seconds are over. So simply stay silent if you have remaining time. And if, of course, if you think about something relevant and that is innovative and new to add when you are having this remaining time, well, of course, mention it. But nonetheless, when considering if to repeat or not what you have already said, I would actually recommend you not to do it. But very good, Nathalie, okay? Very good response. What about, for example, Camila? I think that the response was actually very good as well. How was your response? Very personal. Also, I think that made it to stand out very much from the rest. And well, incredible. I think that, well, maybe the only thing that could have made it better was when you said, like, in the second argument you gave, you said that it's better to date somebody who is, well, speaks a different language, because maybe that would allow you to travel to the country that, well, he belongs to, or that he's from. And maybe you could have said something like, I'm now looking for an American boyfriend in order to go to America or something. That would be super funny, right? But nonetheless, of course, it's just a detail, but anyways, it's fantastic. It's a very good response. Lucia, I think that's the same with you. It's a very good response. I don't actually have any commentary. Fantastic. Alexander as well. For example, maybe here, Alexander, when you said, right, your second argument was that it would allow you to, well, your first argument was that it gives you technical knowledge about languages as Japanese, Chinese. You mentioned a lot of languages. Fantastic. Maybe in that case, what made your response to run out of time was that it was a, well, very large argument. You could have said instead something like, it gives you more technical knowledge of foreign languages, and that was it. It is not necessary, as I say, to explain further your argument, because you made it clear by the illustrations, right? When you spoke about the Asian and the Chinese languages. So it's necessary simply to express the argument very concisely, okay? And also when you talked about your friends and how it allowed her to adapt herself to different places because she knows people from those places, fantastic. I think that was a very good argument, because when you said it, it was super short. And then your illustration made it clear to me, because I didn't understand it at first. Nonetheless, when you talked about your friends who started dating some American guys just in order to adapt herself to the reality in that country, I completely got the idea. So it was, as I say, is the illustration what makes it understandable, not the argument itself. Okay, so very good, Alexander. Paulina as well, I think that's how you mentioned your French friend and how is he learning a lot of things and you are learning as well from him. It's actually very good. It's actually very good that you mentioned your friend, right? Because dating is not actually always something that has to do with romantic relationships. Always, maybe you always have that idea, but dating actually can always be a friendship, right? So it's actually very much, I would say, adequate to the context to talk about friendships as well in this case, because dating is also for building and constructing friendships sometimes. Okay, very good about your French friends. And also for Natalie, as I said, it was a fantastic response. Okay, the timing, how brief the arguments were, how clear and concise they were, fantastic. Very good. There you are. Let's continue. You're here to practice. Okay, this is a related topic, nonetheless, different, completely different as well. But let's see what you think about this one. Before getting married, some couples prefer to have a long engagement, which is at least 2 years. Do you think that this is a good idea? Give reasons and details to support your argument. Let's go. Okay. So please start delivering your response. Oh, excuse me, preparing your response now. Okay. Lucia, you're going to start with this one, okay? So please, dear Lucia, begin with the response now.
With regard to the topic, I believe that having a long engagement, at least of 2 years, is a good idea because of the following reasons. First of all, I think it's a good idea because you get to know someone better, and probably how he or she is, probably how they're going to act, probably in a bad situation, how she or he is going to react, and you get, because like a marriage is something really important. So I don't think you should give it like, yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry.
No, don't worry. Don't worry. Thank you very much, dear Lucia. Alexander, please, you're going to continue. So please start delivering your response now.
Okay, teacher. With regard to the topic, I agree with that. I think it's a good idea to get to know the person as much as possible and see if you do it with their qualities and defects, you can continue the marriage relations to the future, such as if they have some similar future plans. It's good, teacher.
Yes, certainly.
Future plans. So as the similars with you.
Oh, the similarities. Yes,
Yeah.
the similarities with you. Mhm.
That's all.
All right, fantastic. Thank you very much, dear Alexander. There you are. Okay, so Paulina, please continue with the responses starting now.
With regard to the topic, I agree with that because of the following reasons. You can know each other enough because it will not be a problem with their interests and other things. For example, my brother had a girlfriend, and they had a lot of time to know each other, and they get married, and they don't have a problems during the time. And also you can share a lot of different moments when you are boyfriend, when you are in a relationship, and
It's okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, Paulina. Yes, it's okay because you're going to continue pushing yourself to include your response in 45 seconds. So yes, very too.
okay.
Very good. Natalie, so please continue with the responses now.
With regard to the topic, I think I'm agree that long engagement, at least 2 years, is a good idea because of the following reasons. The first one is because you can know the person better at that time. For example, two friends get married and then they broke up because they realized that there are things that were disgusting for each other. And another reason is because you will have time to be sure, you have time to be more in love and prepare your dream wedding. I know an uncle that took so long to prepare her wedding, but she felt very happy and successful.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, dear Natalie. There you are. Okay. Now, please, Camila. Camila, you're going to close this round of responses. Okay. So please start sharing with us your response now.
With regard to the topic, I think it's a good idea to have a long engagement with at least 2 years due to the following reasons. First of all, you get to know your partner better, how he will treat you, and how his education. For example, my aunts were engaged for 3 years and they are married happily up to nowadays. As well, you can know what are their goals for the future, and if they have similar or the same goals to become happily together. For example, I have dated a guy for a year that didn't fulfill my expectations and goals, so we decided to continue our own ways separately.
There you are. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Camila. Very, very good. Okay. So thank you. Thank you very much. I think that this was a very good response round for all of you. And well, I would just add some particular things to all of you. Let's say, for example, starting with we started Lucia, right? So for example, I like your argument, how you said in this case that it is good to wait for a long period of time before getting married because it allows you to see how your partner reacts, right? Very good. It's a fantastic argument. So I guess that maybe what you could do, as I have said before, is to make it shorter a little bit, like one sentence, two sentences. I would say that that quantity of words is enough for you to state the argument itself, and then the illustration makes it understandable. For example, in this case, the argument could have been, it just helps you to see how your partner will react in difficult situations. That was it, because in this case, you expanded more on the argument. And maybe that is what didn't allow you to include the second argument and to move on to the illustration more smoothly, right? But I know that is a common practice because, of course, when we are speaking normally in our daily lives, we try to make ourselves understandable by re-explaining our arguments or ideas. So we have to eliminate that practice for this particular activity, because as I say, by being brief and concise, we're going to be able to have time to include the illustrations, okay? And there is where we are going to be trying to attain clarification to our arguments. Very good. Anyways, dear Lucia, the argument was very good. Alexander as well. So for example, here, Alexander was also very clever when giving his arguments. He said, right, that it would allow you to see similarities with your partner. That is to say, if you share some particular perspectives, sometimes I don't know, but he said similarities, and that is a very good word for this particular topic, similarities, because of course you're looking for somebody who shares some particular characteristics or traits with you. So in this case, what would like to me would be the example, right? Dear Alexander, for example, you could have said something like, I don't know, you could have invented something. Remember that you don't actually have to always remain, let's say, very much attached to the reality, because, well, this is not a question about honesty, but about how you speak English, right? So you could have said, I dated, I don't know, a girl for 3 years, but in that time, I was able to comprehend that she and I did not actually share many similarities because we had very different opinions about crucial topics, and then we broke up, right? Something like that. That would have been a very good example of how you, well, could have illustrated your particular argument. But it was very good anyways. Thank you very much, Alexander. Paulina as well. You know, for example, Paulina here, the reason I think that why you are not getting enough time to include your second argument and second illustration in this case, what was because the illustration was in this case a little bit, let's say, it was a little bit large. And that is, I know, very ironic, because I always tell you that you should actually spend more time in illustrations. I know maybe you're thinking, well, that seems to be ambiguous, but as I say, that is the point, that it is by practicing that you measure how much time is adequate to spend at every particular point. Certainly, the illustrations should receive more time, more emphasis, but nonetheless, of course, there is a moment in which you are spending too much time as well. If you remain there for more than 10, 15 seconds, of course, that is too much. And I think that was exactly the case in this case, when you talked about, how was it that your brother, right, dated this girl for, I think it was 2 years or 3 years, as you said, and now they are married and they are very much happy because they had that time to know each other very well and to know if they were compatible. So fantastic, but the illustration in this case was too large. And as I say, how are you going to be able to measure when is it, let's say, beneficial to stay there for a while or to dispense with it and to move on directly to the other topic? Well, by continue practicing. So as I say, maybe 10 seconds, 15 seconds as a maximum, it's fine for the illustration and the argument. But if you stay there for more than that, you're not going to have time to include the rest. Okay, so try to measure that by looking at the chronometer as well. Okay.
Okay.
Fantastic, but very good, Paulina. Very good response. Nathalie, in this case, fantastic as always. Very good response. Very good measured. Brief arguments, brief illustrations. Very good. Don't have any particular observations. And Camilo as well, I think that this was a very, very, very good response. How you talked about, for example, your own life, right? How you, I'm not sure, of course, if it was true. It is not necessary to be true, right? That you dated this guy, right? That didn't meet your expectations, right? I mean, fantastic. It's not necessary for it to be true, but it was fantastic because it demonstrated the arguments very well, that you need to know if that person shares with you some ambitions, some perspectives, some goals for the future. And now you're telling us that because of this time, you managed to see that this guy actually didn't meet those expectations that you had. Fantastic. That's it. Right? As I say, not necessary to be true, but the illustration itself supports the argument in a tremendous manner. So very good for all of you. I think that you have been performing very well. Okay, so let's move on. Let's continue. Okay, this is a very good one. Okay, let's skip the topic about romantic relationships. I think that we have had enough about that. Let's remain and let's come back to more trivial and top and normal topics. What about this one? Do you think that it's a good idea to skip breakfast? Support your points with specific examples and details. All right, this is a very good, very, very good question. So let us please start with the preparation time. And all of you start preparing your responses now. There you are. So please, dear Alexander, you're going to be the first one in this round. So please start delivering your response now. Okay, let us go again, dear Alexander. Right? So please start sharing your response with the group now.
Okay, teacher. with regard to the topic, I agree with that. I disagree with that. I think it's a very bad idea to avoid this meal for in this day, because you cause illness in your health, and it's important food that gives you. For example, if you start this day.
No, I think that he just got out of the reunion, right? Okay, what happened? I guess he lost the connection. Okay, he's gonna come back, I know. Who goes next? Paulina. Paulina, please continue until Alexander comes back later. Okay, so please start responding now.
Okay, with regard to the topic, I disagree because of the following reasons. You lost your concentration, and it is important to concentrate if you are studying or doing something important. I remember the last week I skipped my breakfast, and for that I skipped my breakfast, and I couldn't concentrate well for my studies, and I had a lot of problems. With that, and also another reason, you are not active in your things, because I think if you are you have to have your breakfast to get concentrate, and you'll get more active. And
That's okay. It's okay. Thank you very much, Paulina. There you are. Fantastic. Natalie, please continue with this one now.
With regard to the topic, I completely disagree that it's a good idea to skip the breakfast because of the following reasons. The first one is because you will be tired and exhausted. There was a time that I go out without breakfast, and then I come home and I wanted to sleep all day. And another reason is because you're not going to be productive nor active. For example, one day I woke up very early to study, and I forgot to eat my breakfast, and I couldn't finish my assignments.
There you are. Incredible. Thank you very much, dear Natalie. Camilla, please continue with this one. Start delivering your response now.
With regard to the topic, I think it's not a bad idea to skip breakfast for the following reasons. My first reason is that it's important for your stomach to receive food at the beginning of the day in order to be healthy. For example, I don't feel better during the day when I skip breakfast. Another reason is that you can perform bad during the day, and you can get dizzy and feel uncomfortable and weak as you're not receiving the minimum amount of food your body needs at the beginning of the day. For example, once I skipped my breakfast, I was really, really sick, and how to say desmayar? Drown? No.
I would just say I just fell down, but nonetheless, let me look for it. I forgot as well how to say it. But anyways, I got the idea.
I was my whole speaking, I was trying to remember the word, but I couldn't, and at the end.
Yes. Yeah, fainting. Yes, it's fainting. I just fainted.
Yes,
it just
I
fainted
fainted.
down. Yes, it just fainted down. Fantastic.
Yes. Yeah. That was the last word for my speaking.
Yeah, don't worry. Thank you very much. Yes, one word for the vocabulary. Fainted down. Yes, better if you always add that phrasal verb, fainted down, because when you say fainted, sounds like a little bit weird, but fainted down, right? Sounds stronger. Very good. There you are. And who's gonna? Lucia already responded. No. Lucia is gonna close this particular response. Okay, so dear Lucia, start responding to the question now.
With regard to the topic, I strongly believe that skipping breakfast is a bad idea because of the following reasons. First of all, it's well known that skipping the first meal of the day, it's really unhealthy and will make you feel not as productive as you would do if you eat your breakfast. And then second of all, and I think that if you skip breakfast, you won't be able to have much energy throughout the day. For example, last week I skipped breakfast and I totally regret it because I felt sleepy all day, and I didn't recommend it.
There you are. Incredible. Thank you very much, Lucia. Okay, so I think that all of you have, well, shared a fantastic response in this round. I think that certainly you can see actually your progress, right? From the very moments when we started this practice and to this last response, I think that it's noticeable how much you have improved, right? So for example, Alexander sadly didn't finish his response, but he was doing pretty well anyways. Paulina, for example, okay, so here, for example, you still continue having this trouble, but I think it's certainly less noticeable now because you at least now arrive or reach, let's say, the point in which you're mentioning and talking about your second argument. But when we started this practice, you were not even able to arrive at that point, right? So I think that is certainly a progress. And now you're forcing yourself to speak less in some points of your response, and then you reach that particular last part of the response when you're saying your second argument. And now if you continue practicing, you're going to be able to measure and to limit your response unto certain marks. And then you're going to know, okay, if I continue speaking until this point, I'm not going to be able to continue with my illustration. So please better I stop and I continue to the other topic, right? So that is something that you're going to acquire by practice. But anyways, I think that you are already getting it through this particular practice. And I think that tomorrow you're going to perfect it until the end. Okay, so very good, Paulina. Fantastic. Well, Alexander has come back. Alexander, would you like to share with us your response? I know that you quit. Maybe I guess you had some troubles with your internet. Would you like to respond to Alexander? Alex, can you listen to me? Alexander? Oh, yes. Yes, it's fine, dear Alexander. Okay, so I guess you cannot speak, right? It's fine. Don't worry. Yes. Okay. No, don't worry. Don't worry. It's okay, dear Alexander. It's okay. Yes. It happens. Don't worry. Okay, so as I was mentioning to all of your classmates, I think that in this response, you have been able to see, right, your progress. So as I say, Paulina, I think that you are improving that aspect very much. Now you're limiting yourself. You're, let's say, identifying and setting for you some boundaries, and that is making your response to progress and to the last part, that is the second illustration. And actually, in some responses, you managed to do it. So it's just a matter of practicing more so that you can continue setting those boundaries to see, okay, until this point I can advance, and from here on I cannot move forward, because if I do so, I'm not going to have more time to finish the response. Fantastic. Okay, a good progress, very good progress. Natalie as well, fantastic. I think that you have actually polished this this exercise very much now, until the point that you're actually able to finish the response in 35 seconds, not just 45, right? And it's okay. Whenever you want to add more information, add it. But if you feel comfortable with that, it's completely and totally fine if you finish your responses, if you have still free time, or let's say remaining time to continue speaking. Whenever you consider you're just going to speak repetitive stuff, it's better to stay silent as you do. So fantastic. So Camila as well here, although the fainted word, right? Fainted down. Anyways, we are practicing, and that is exactly what the reason why we're doing that, because we want to avoid this type of things in the exam. So that, of course, now you know that if you receive a question that is similar to this one, this is never going to happen to you. So fantastic. We are making sure that the errors, we commit them here. And of course, in the exam, we are perfect and very much polished for the exam. So fantastic. I mean, I think that your progress also is noticeable, how much natural and how proficient you have become in these tasks. Fantastic. And finally, as well, Lucia, I think that the response is incredible, right? How you have managed to polish as well the response, how you feel natural when responding. I think it's fantastic. I don't have any particular observation, just to say that from the very beginning up to this point, I think the progress is noticeable. Okay, so just let us continue, and you're gonna improve even more, I consider. Okay, so Alexander as well, for you, I think that your responses have been improving constantly from the beginning, and now you are attaining way more flexibility in your response, and I think that is going to continue tomorrow. Okay, when we continue practicing. Okay, because tomorrow we're going to continue practicing for this task that is certainly the most difficult one of all. Okay. So let us stop the class here, and I'm going to take your assistance, so please don't go. And please, dear students, help me with the traditional poll that we always fill. You know that you help me a lot, okay, by filling it. And as you remember, I sent to the WhatsApp group the website that we have been using. you can actually enter into the website and practice by yourself, okay, whenever you want. And I remember you again, you have the option of reserving with me personal calls in order to practice this section, not only this part, but also the second, the third, and the fourth task of the speaking section. You can do it whenever you want. I have sent the documents several times to the WhatsApp group so that you can know how to do it. Just have to create an account into our website and to fill some information, and then you are able to reserve and to join me whenever you want, okay? But let me take your assistance. If you have any question, by the way, please feel free to say it right now. Where are we? Here we are.
Teacher, I have a question.
Yes, please.
For example, if we don't understand one word of the statement, what we have to do with that, or how we can plan our responses?
Yes. Well, it's a very good question, actually. Well, let me share my screen with you one more time then. For example, let's go to this question. Maybe for many of my students, I have found to this particular question, it's difficult for them to understand it. Let's say, for example, this one, look at it. It says, people should be fined when they do not wear masks during a pandemic. For some people, the meaning of the word fined as a verb seems to be super, super obscure. And actually, the verb fine means multar, alguien, finding people. So when you don't know, well, of course, there are two possible cases. As I told you, when you don't know the meaning of a word, how can you know it? Well, we're looking at the context. For example, if you look at the context in which this word is placed and you see when they do not wear masks during a pandemic, I think that if you read that sentence, you can think, okay, if they are saying if they do not wear masks, what could they be talking about? Of course, it must be some sort of punishment, right? Because it is an if clause. It is how's this called? It is well, it's certainly something that is proposing a consequence if they do not, when they do not wear masks during a pandemic. So maybe this word, of course, means or refers to something related to punishment. So maybe that would be a manner in which you could decipher and, well, to understand the meaning of the word without knowing it. But anyways, in any case, if you don't manage to do so by looking at the context and understanding more or less what could the word mean, my recommendation is, well, do whatever you can. I mean, go for the meaning you guess would be the correct one. And well, just you have to see what your reviewer thinks about the response. If he considers that it was very difficult to understand it, I've never had this problem myself, and I've never had somebody who I had talked to and he didn't understand the question. But nonetheless, if you don't, I guess like the safest, let's say, solution would be simply to respond with the option you consider to be the most probable one, and then to expect the reviewer to have some sort of consideration for you because maybe the word was difficult or something. But as I said, the safest option would be to read the context, and because of the context, you can understand the word 90% of the time, I would say. Although you, of course, will not have it perfectly, but it will be fine. Okay. There you
Yes,
are.
thank you.
Okay. My pleasure. Okay, so Reyes, no, Ramirez Camila. Okay, so it's not here. Guzman Guadalupe. Okay, well, that was not here. What about Sonia Raquel? It was not being. Okay, Nathalie, not here.
Present.
Thank you very much, Nathalie. Grados Lucia.
Present.
There you are. What about Reyes Camila?
Present.
Thank you very much. What about Paulina Jasmine?
Present.
There you are as well. And finally, Alexander Christopher. Okay, yes, I got you, dear Alexander. Don't worry. Present. And there you are. Oh, I was sharing this anyways. Okay, as you can see, that's it. Well, thank you very much to your students for the responses and for your participation. See you tomorrow. We're going to continue with this, and I'm going to give you more material tomorrow in order for you to practice in your free time, okay? Have a wonderful night. See you tomorrow.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank
Have
you,
a great
teacher.
night.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. See you later.
Teacher, I have a question.
Yes, Paulina, tell me.
No, it's me, Lucia.
Oh, Lucia. Oh, Lucia. I'm sorry. Yes, tell me.
And this is the first, it's about the structure of the TOEFL. This is the first question we're going to receive, but it's only going to be one question of this sort. or
Mhm.
or it's going to be
Yes.
2 or 3?
Yes, very good question. Yes, it's only going to be one type of, for every single task of the speaking section, you're just going to have one question. That is to say, for the first task, one question, for the second task, one question, third task, one question, and finally, fourth task, just one question. No more than that.
Okay. Yeah, I only had that doubt.
No, don't worry. But continue practicing because, as I said, like as much as you practice the section, it's going to be better. Okay.
Another question that I had is that what happens if I only had one argument? It's because sometimes the topic, it's for me, I don't know, I find it hard to argument.
Yes.
So sometimes,
Yes.
and I don't have time to think. So sometimes I will have only one argument. Is that okay? Or
yeah, I mean, whenever, of course, you cannot think about any other argument, it's fine anyways. You can go with it. And of course, in that case, you will have to expand, right, very much on the arguments in order to make it lengthy a little bit, in order to feel at least, I don't know, 90% of the time. But anyways, as I say, it's always preferable to have two. But if that happens, let's say in the worst case scenario, it's going to be fine as far as you develop the arguments in a very good manner and you offer a good illustration as well. I don't think the reviewer is going to be super picky and strict to say, hey, just one argument. But as I say, better to continue practicing and to always present two, right? But anyways, it could happen, and I don't think it's going to be that bad. All right?
okay. Teacher, and the last question before I
Tell
go.
me.
And in this part, you know, the person that is going to qualify us, I don't know how to say it,
Yes.
is going to be more you know, concentrated to us being more fluent, or use hard words, or just like defend our argument, you know, because I don't know if I you know, sometimes I'm thinking of using, you know, specific words or complicated words in order for them to think that I know more. I don't know.
Yes. Yeah, I would say certainly a combination of all. Like, they have some sort of categories in which they evaluate you. For example, a category would be vocabulary. Another category would be, let's say, fluency, as you said. Another category would be the quality of the arguments, the quality of the illustrations, how much they stand out from the rest. So, of course, I mean, making a full summary of all those categories, they're going to come up with the final score. So, as I say, it's a combination. It's trying to make but the priority, in my opinion, would be, as I say, if you don't have any block up, if you remain fluent, and if you, of course, as I say, present good arguments and illustrations. The rest, the vocabulary, of course, that can be polished, but nonetheless, it's not, let's say, the priority. The priority is to be fluent and, to present good arguments and good illustrations. If you have that, you're going to receive at least 20. And of course, something above that if you get a good vocabulary, and also if you get, let's say, well, good syntax or good grammar as well, elevated grammar is going to be as well very good.
Okay, teacher, thank you. Have a good night.
My pleasure. No, thank you very much, and see you tomorrow. Okay.
See you. Bye.